on impeaching the governor, especially after the Senate absolved her of any blame in November of 2023. Remember, Kawira Mwangaza is facing his third impeachment in 2 years. Now, one thing that is worth noting is that 3 of the charges leveled against Governor Kawira Mwangaza are similar to those that were leveled against her in the previous, of course, impeachments. And that includes gross violation of the Kenyan Constitution, abuse of office, and gross misconduct. Of course, under the gross violation of the Kenyan Constitution, Kawira Mwangaza is accused of course, firing various CEOs various board CEOs in the county without adhering to the Kenyan Constitution. Now, his lawyers do say that the MCAs and their claims, or the 3 impeachment grounds made or, of course, presented before the Senate, do not hold any water. It's the hearing will enter its second day today, where the Governor Kawira Mwangaza hoping to continue with his winning streak after winning against the MCAs in the previous 2 times. The first impeachment motion, of course, went to the committee way. The second one went before plenary, and even this third one, there was a debate in the Senate on whether it should go the plenary way or the committee way, with the majority leader in the Senate, that is K24 Senator Aaron Cheriot, saying that they should go the committee way. But most of the senators said no. Kenyans need to know what is happening in Meru County. The only way that Kenyans can follow up the proceedings in real time, is through plenary. Now, remember, these senators warned Kawira Mwangaza last time out in November 2023, when she was absolved of any blame by the Senate, to serve the people of Meru County and include everyone in her leadership. Question is, will Kawira Mwangaza survive this time around? Apart from Kawira Mwangaza, there was an eventful day again yesterday when Jimmy Wanjigi was arrested after presenting himself at the DCI Milimani regional headquarters right here in the capital, Nairobi. Wanjigi was there to, of course, record a statement in regards to the allegations made against him. We remember, you'd rather remember that last week, police officers pitched tent to his Muthaiga home, but in vain. They did not find him, with the businessman coming out later on to say, "You'll look for me, but you'll never find me. I'm just in this house, but you will never find me." Now, yesterday, he made his way to the DCI Milimani regional headquarters, accompanied by his family and his lawyers, including Willis Otieno and veteran lawyer John Hamino. Now, according to John Hamino, the arrest of one Jimmy Wanjigi is unconstitutional because there is a court order barring his arrest. A court order that was given last week, and of course it was supposed to bar his arrest until the 19th of September 2024. Now, addressing the press at Kamkunji police station after he was, of course, arrested and taken to Kamkunji police station, his lawyer Willis Otieno said they want to, of course, charge Jimmy Wanjigi with terrorist charges, and they said this is some sort of political witch hunt. And in fact, in his own words, they said, if at all the government led by President William Ruto wants to take on businessman Jimmy Wanjigi, they should do so in a fair manner, in the field. Well, that was what happened yesterday. But in regards to that, and in regards to whatever conversation we'll be having this particular morning, is that yesterday the first batch of various freshers or students who, of course, qualified to join various universities did make their way to their various institutions of higher learning, led by the University of Nairobi. But this comes at a time when there are questions regarding the new funding model. Remember, last week the Ministry of Education, or rather through the Department of Higher Education, did release the various bands and classifications of students according to their needs, with only around 10,000 students classified in band 1, which is a band that includes the most needy students. Out of 113 students who were classified in those particular bands, only 10,000 were termed as extremely needy. Now, there are very, very many other students out there who deem themselves as extremely needy, but they say, or rather vulnerable, but they say they've been left out in that particular band. We'll be having a conversation surrounding that, and of course the state of education in the country, with a looming crisis, by the way, because in September, Nat and Kupet have declared that they will kickstart their strike if at all their demands will not be met. The strike is scheduled to begin on the 26th of August 2024. Now, university dons have also issued a strike notice last week saying that they will down their tools. So we're staring at an educational crisis in the country in a term that is very, very crucial, especially for those who will be sitting for their national examinations. President William Ruto has, of course, told the senior officials in the ministry, led by Education CS, Mr. Gambra, to ensure that everything is sorted out before schools reopen, so that the government can rather avert any crisis. That will be what we'll be looking at this particular morning here on A New Dawn. And remember, by the way, you can engage with us across social media at K24 TV, and you can also tag me at Ian Keitani and let us know what you make of the situation in the country in terms of what is happening in the education sector, even as students prepare for their third term, and of course those who qualified to join university do kickstart their studies in various institutions of higher learning. Now, welcome to The New Dawn. It's time we let you know what is happening in the country. And we begin now on the prices of basic commodities, including bread and cooking oil, could rise if the eco-levy that was in the contentious Finance Bill 2024 is reinstated. The Packaging Producer Responsibility Organization, however, imposing the tax on raw materials used to manufacture plastic packaging will lead to a jump in prices, which can only be salvaged by imposing the eco-levy on finished imported goods. As Joel Chasha now tells us, phones and computers, among other electronics, could also become expensive, despite Kenya being considered a digital hub in the region.
In what could be considered a temporary relief after the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024, due to public pressure from youthful Kenyans, popularly known as the Gen Zs, the National Treasury is bringing back to life some of the clauses as new bills in Parliament.
Those sensitive areas, like what was widely talked about, sanitary pads, etc., those ones we can't make a mistake, because Kenyans have spoken. But there is also import duties, so we are looking at those duties. But
however, stakeholders in the packaging industry now warn that the move to reintroduce eco-levy will lead to a hike in the cost of basic commodities wrapped with plastics. Electronic devices such as phones and computers will also be more expensive, despite multinational firms lamenting that it will be costly to operate in Kenya.
It is going to affect the cost increase in the basic goods that you and I are using, bread, cooking oil. Where we sit is we hope that it is being introduced based off the final amendment that was presented by the parliamentary committee, which had stated that the eco-levy would be subjected only to finished goods that are imported, and not as it had originally been suggested, which was going to affect raw materials that were being imported, including all our plastic and packaging materials.
According to the chair of the Finance Committee of the National Assembly, Kuria Kimani, it's not illegal to reintroduce clauses in the withdrawn Finance Bill 2024.
They will tell us why they oppose it. They will tell us, because for me, you know them, they are in business, but we also have an interest as a country. This country is not a dumping place. So we are saying if you are creating, if you are injurious to the environment, then you must pay for helping make good what you have, the harm that you have caused.
The government is seeking to collect 50 billion Kenya shillings to cover the deficit that was caused by the rejection of the Finance Bill 2024 by Kenyans.
Bill of 2024 is done and dusted. That is forgotten. Hiyo ni kaburi la sahau. Kwa hivyo ukitaka kufanya mabadiliko yoyote lazima ianze afresh. It's like starting all over. And therefore you can introduce any law at any particular time, whether through the leader of majority party, whether through a committee bill or through a private member's bill.
Already it had slashed its budget by 145 billion Kenya shillings. Joel Chasha, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Now, the Senate has begun the hearing the third impeachment motion against Meru Governor Mwangaza. The governor denied charges leveled against her, with her lawyers terming the motion to oust her a manifesto of lies. The county assembly, through its lead counsel, Ndegwa Wanjigi, however, maintained that Mwangaza had failed in her mandate to the people of Meru. Here now is Muriel Odhiambo with that story.
Evidence is tested in.
For the third time in 2 years, Meru Governor Mwangaza appeared before the Senate to defend herself against a motion for her impeachment.
Cross-examination.
The governor said little besides denying charges of gross violation of the Constitution, gross misconduct and abuse of office.
The Honorable Kawera Mwangaza, how do you plead to the 3 charges? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Through her lawyers, Elisha Ongoya and Elias Mutuma, Mwangaza accused the County Assembly of Meru of adducing false evidence as part of a plot to remove her from office, allegations the Assembly, through its advocates Ndegwa Njiru and Boniface Mawira, denied.
We are here because there is serious trust deficit with the ability of Governor Kawera to govern the County of Meru.
How is the Meru County Assembly expected to function if its oversight function has been crippled by the executive?
When we are here debating the last motion, they didn't need any new grounds. They were sounding a warning to this House. Release her and we shall come back 6 times. If they reinstate her, we will impeach her until the 6th time, so that we tell the people of Meru we did our best. We tried to impeach, but the Senate reinstated her.
The County Assembly called to the stand Deputy Majority Leader Zipporah Kenya, who tabled the motion to impeach Mwangaza. Kenya alleged that supporters of Mwangaza had planned to burn the County Assembly to defeat the motion. She was later cross-examined by Mwangaza's lawyers.
There was an attempt to ban the County Assembly of Meru at around 3 a.m. while the members were inside the County Assembly, honorable members.
Were there members of the County Assembly?
Yes.
Within the Assembly at that hour?
Yes.
Does the County Assembly of Meru conduct business at 3 a.m.?
It doesn't.
It does not?
Yes.
How would you explain their presence? In public offices at 3 a.m.?
I would explain their presence because the members of the County Assembly, the members of the County Assembly were under threat.
The Senate also heard that Mwangaza had failed to follow the law in appointing and dismissing officers to key county boards.
It has affected service delivery in Meru County because the county executive has really, in many times, usurped the powers of the Meru County Public Service Board, and because of that, then the Meru County Public Service is not running well.
Thank you.
The governor is also accused of wasting county funds by irregularly paying on-call allowances amounting to more than 74 million shillings to 161 doctors and employing a bloated workforce in her office.
In my oration,
tomorrow, Mwangaza will present evidence to counter the allegations against her before the Senate takes a final vote to decide whether the impeachment motion will be upheld.
The Senate.
Muriel Adhiambo, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Crossing over to Wasingi, Deputy Governor Engineer John Barorot has officially announced his resignation following weeks of speculation that the second-in-command was on his way out of Governor Jonathan B's administration. Barorot, who announced his resignation in presence of Governor B and other county officials at the county headquarters, say he arrived at the decision after securing employment with a multinational ICT company. However, sources within Wasingi County government intimate that the DG's resignation has been long coming after allegations of his fallout with Governor Jonathan B.
It started with an early meeting at one of the hotels in Eldoret involving top officials led by Governor Jonathan B and his deputy, Engineer John Barorot. This would be followed by Barorot's announcement where he tendered his resignation just 2 years into office. The DG didn't waste the opportunity to explain to the people of Wasingi on why he has resigned. Barorot says he arrived at the decision to join the ICT world after deep consideration, but believes he will serve his county and the country even better.
Coming into the baptism was initially a bit tough, but I've actually enjoyed working with in the county in terms of dealing with administration, implementing the Nguzo Kumi blueprint that you put in place, and I believe it will continue. So really to remove all these rumors is an opportunity that I have gotten, and I've weighed pros and cons, and there is a larger thing which will be beneficial to the country at large, including Wasingi, that have decided to take this other responsibility within the private sector in ICT.
Governor B took the opportunity to thank his deputy for his contribution and insisted he had enjoyed a cordial working relationship with Barorot.
It is history that when we started Eldoret many years ago, 112 years ago, we attained the city status while we were in office. So, Engineer Barorot, when you go, know that you contributed a lot to the development of this county, and we feel that you are a very important man. And I don't think you will go away for real. You will still hang around here because we need you to help us. And I also want to thank the staff for giving us a very good environment where we work together, we engage. And I want to thank particularly the county assembly, because the county assembly oversights what we do as executive.
Barorot's resignation, however, comes on the heels of speculation for weeks that his relationship with the handlers of his boss had grown frosty. Some Wasingi residents feel there is more than meets the eye in the DG's resignation.
Kulingana na resignation yake, ako na chenye anaelewa zaidi kuliko sisi raia. Na tunaona unfolding events venye itaenda. Sisi kama wakeyo hatujafurahia hiyo maneno. Ametoroka, amefinywa, amechezewa kubwa.
Akaona tu waje nifunike kwa mbele ya raia, our governor, so that wasione nimekuja kumpiga vita. Hakutaka kuonyesha vita kwa governor, lakini kwa ukweli huyo jamaa wetu ameumia.
Watapata tena deputy mwingine na kazi itaendelea. Sidhani kama kuna shida kwa serikali sana kwa sababu mtu mmoja ameresign.
Sources within the county administration allege that Barorot had previously expressed his dissatisfaction with handling of his office and occasionally threatened to quit.
While in office,
the DG was missing in action during the recent Eldoret City conferment ceremony and kept off events leading up to the ceremony. Gladys Medacha, K24 TV.
What you'd say is a political crisis, if you'd like. As the residents say, there could be foul play at a time when conmen are said to be taking over the city, with various con artists and residents claiming that they've been conned millions of money in the recent past. Now, businessman Jimmy Wanjigi was arrested yesterday evening after presenting himself at the DCI Milimani regional headquarters. Wanjigi, who has been on the radar of police officers in the recent past, has been accused of illegally being in possession of firearms and, of course, is expected to be arraigned in court today.
I am here to face the injustice of a regime.
Monday afternoon, and businessman Jimmy Wanjigi made his way to the DCI Milimani regional headquarters in the company of his family and his lawyers to record a statement over recent claims of being in possession of illegal firearms. The wealthy businessman was briefly embroiled in an altercation between him and police officers manning the gate.
No, then keep quiet. Keep quiet.
Wanjigi has been a man under siege in recent weeks, with police officers camping at his Muthaiga home searching for him, but in vain. The embattled businessman is accused of being in possession of illegal firearms, among other things, including 4 tear gas canisters, 2 Motorola communication gadgets, 7 assorted chargers for pocket phones, and 1 mobile phone in a vehicle parked by Wanjigi's gate, claims that Wanjigi dismissed. However, after being held for close to 2 hours inside the offices, the vocal businessman was arrested inside the premises in the presence of his family and lawyers before being driven off to Kamkunji police station, according to his lawyer John Haminwa.
One senior investigator just came and said to us that, look, we are taking Wanjigi to court tomorrow and we are putting him in custody. I asked him whether he should not give him bail. He said bail is out.
According to the veteran lawyer, his client's arrest is in contravention of the law, arguing that there is a court order in place barring his arrest until at least the 19th of September.
Those orders, so far as we are concerned, are still in force. Those orders are still in force. But what is happening now is despicable. That is not the way justice should be administered at all.
His arrest has elicited mixed reactions across social media, with Nairobi's Senator Edwin Sifuna slamming the government, calling for his immediate release.
According to lawyer John Haminwa, Wanjigi shouldn't be going through all the troubles, slamming the government over what he termed as taking the country back to the Moi era.
But what is happening now is despicable. That is not the way justice should be administered at all. Things are happening which used to happen during Moi administration, which I thought as a country we have now got over. But it appears as if we are going back to that era.
Wanjigi is expected to be arraigned in court tomorrow. Ian Kitani, K24, Nairobi.
Let's talk matters health, and the Ministry of Health has expressed growing concern over the global shortage of the Mpox vaccine, urging Kenyans to remain vigilant, particularly those who have recently traveled to countries currently reporting cases of the disease. Despite these concerns, Kenya has only confirmed one positive Mpox case to date, and the patient has since recovered. Health officials are further assuring the public that Kenya remains safe and that the necessary preventive measures are in place. Here is Ben Kirira with more.
Ongoing investigations are being conducted on 10 samples from individuals suspected of having Mpox. These samples are currently being examined in laboratories, with results expected within 5 to 8 hours.
We have 26 suspects right now, samples. About 10 of them are already in the lab. Primary risk in contact with an infected person or contaminated personal items or through sexual contact is the common secondary infection that would occur in our country.
Over the past 1 month, more than 100 laboratory-confirmed cases of a new Mpox strain, Clade 1B, have been reported across Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda and Uganda. The World Health Organization has warned that the actual number of cases may be higher, as many clinically compatible cases have not yet been tested.
For now, we have dedicated 4 laboratories to be able to do this testing, but we have redundant capacity of more than 100 laboratories if there's need to be able to call for additional laboratory support.
In Kenya, the Ministry of Health has expressed particular concern about vaccine availability should Mpox be detected locally again.
Africa as a continent, we require 10 million doses of vaccines. We are assured by the Nordic manufacturer of the vaccine that by the end of the year we can be able to have about 2 million doses. But the vaccine will not be for everybody because of the scarcity in terms of the availability of the vaccines. So we are going to prioritize who are the risk population to be able to be put at the forefront for vaccine administration.
The Mpox vaccine is most effective when administered within 4 days of exposure to the virus or within 14 days if no symptoms have been spotted. According to the WHO, high-risk groups include health workers at risk of exposure, men who have sex with men, people with multiple sexual partners, and sex workers.
Mpox has an incubation period of 5 to 14 days, but may vary from 1 to 21 days, which is the time from infection to appearance of signs and symptoms.
As the situation develops, the Ministry of Health continues to monitor potential cases and prepare for the possible need for vaccinations. Ben Kirera, K24, Nairobi.
Well, of course, there are concerns from the Mpox disease, but like the Ministry of Health says, there's only one reported case in the country, and that patient has recovered. Now, that was whatever the news items making headlines this particular morning on the New Dawn. But this particular morning, we'll be talking about the state of education. But even before that, we'll be looking at what's making headlines in the local dailies. Of course, already here in studio is Mr. Wilson Sosion, the former SG of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, alongside the Kibra MP, Honorable Peter Orero. We'll be here to help us dissect on matters education here in the country. And of course, we'll be joined later on by Zach Kinuthia, who is the former CAS for Education. That will be after this short commercial break. Don't go away.